NAU, Three-Peat, very emotional NAU. Tyler, can you explain how the team's feeling right now?
Currently, afterwards, I felt like crap. But then afterwards, having everyone there together, we actually just huddled up and took a, you're on my spike. We just kind of took a moment of silence, put our heads together, and just kind of like meditated for a little bit. And so I'm feeling really good now.
When you woke up this morning and saw the snow, what did you think?
Even playing field, everyone has to deal with the snow too.
Luis, coming back again after a good freshman campaign, you're right up there. How did it feel? Walk me through that race, the last half.
Yeah, last half I was falling off from the top pack, and I just knew like I had to maintain my position and not let anyone pass me, just because I wasn't doing it for myself, but I was doing it for my brothers, and yeah, I just couldn't do it without them. So sorry, super emotional out there. We've been working hard all year, and knowing that's Matt's last year and Tyler and Pete's last year is probably the best moment of my life.
Matt, I'll give you a second, Matt. Let's go over here to Peter. Eighth last year, surprise. This year you're surprising nobody based on how well you're running. How does it feel to go back-to-back, win another one, and put 3 on the board for NAU?
This was the hardest one, to be honest. One of the hardest. The first, I don't know. It's like, I think it's really hard. Like you can tell, like back to back 3 times. It's like mentally it's the hardest thing ever. So I'm so happy for these guys to be able to pull this off, and this goes down in history, and like we did it. Yeah, Flagstaff.
Matt, where'd Matt go? Matt, can we get you for a sec? Oh, is this your dad? Oh, okay.
Robert Baxter made the trip out from New Zealand, so this was a very special day to share with my dad and with these boys.
How'd you feel out there? Obviously wasn't the individual race, but when you started to fall off, what kept you going? What kept you from dropping? I mean, horrible conditions out here, very tough.
Yeah, so one of it was I talked a lot of crap beforehand, so I kind of had to stay in with it because of that. I was thinking about the team the whole time. I knew it was a hard day out there. I was hurting from pretty early on, but I had to stick with it. I had to try and get every single point for that team, so that was what was in my mind the whole time.
Did you have any doubts about the team at that point?
I think I was still pretty confident. I think I heard Coach Hines, when we're coming into about a K to go, he gave me a nod that we had at least a bit of a lead at that stage. So I knew there was still going to be a good chance that our team was in it. But at that point, also I had to think that I was hurting, so I just had to focus on every spot at that point.
And how's it feel? Has your dad watched many of your races in college?
Yeah, so he would watch it on FloTrack. Definitely, we had an account, so even from the other side of the world, what you guys do, I got to say, I really appreciate FloTrack and being able to stream these events, especially in New Zealand, because I mean this is the first time my dad's been able to make it out to watch me run, and for my last race, that's really special. But he's also at the same time been able to follow my progress from the other side of the world. So I really appreciate what you guys do and helping make that part possible.
So 3 in a row, NAU. Oh, let's get Coach Smith over here. Before we do that here, Louis, you're coming back next year, so some of these guys are graduating, you're coming back. What's in store for NAU in 2019?
I mean, we got a young recruiting class that's coming up. We redshirted Brody, so 4-minute miler, and to tell you how good of this team was, we didn't even need the top high school in the nation, the top guy in the high school in the nation. We didn't even out here, and we got a lot of good young guys, and we're ready and we're fired up to come out here next year. Yeah,
very good.
By the way, before so in our tent we have a bunch of heaters in our tent area, and I was too close to one. My legs were too close to one, and I caught on fire from my pants. So I had to run out to the snow and just wipe it off clean.
So that's why you're feeling better now. All right, we'll try to get Coach Smith here in a second for a live interview. Coach Smith, Three-Peat for NAU. You talked in the press conference about the idea of the disease of more and Pat Riley, and I'm guessing that's something that doesn't just affect athletes but also coaching staff as well,
for sure.
Wanting more. How is this group able to pull it off and be the best of the 3 that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, they're phenomenal athletes. Their minds are just so tuned into what this takes, and they don't get distracted on the wrong things. And I mean, we got guys that, you know, a lot of people talk, could they win individual titles? I've never heard that all season long. It's only about team points. We had some guys that, probably could have finished higher on another scenario, and only ran for team points. The only way we see this is as a team race, and you can train legs. The brains are a whole other thing, though. You know, you can just that's the secret to all this.
When Matt fell off, were those nervous moments for you?
I would probably be nervous for other athletes besides Matt. It's I just said to my staff as that was happening, I said, they said, "Are you worried?" And I said, "I'd be worried if it was anyone else besides Matt Baxter." And he's coached a lot of people. There's very few like him, and he could fall off like that and completely manage the situation. I knew he would, and that's exactly what he did.
We talked a lot in the pre-race about what NAU's strategy was. Matt said we might have something different. So I'm just curious, it was hard to decipher the plan for anybody today because of the weather. What was your guys' tactic coming in?
Yeah, so we implement strategies that are just to maximize points. It's better for certain style of racing for certain guys. It's better for them to keep it aggressive. We saw a lot of tactical races at the conference meet. We saw tactical races at the regional meet. We did a lot of practicing about forcing and riding that line. They're not when they reach the sort of that red line in the middle of a race. They don't panic at all. We do a lot of practice on that, and so Matt and Tyler knew to stay on it. And the way we trained, we knew if we had a lead at halfway, we were going to be tough to deal with in the second half. They're not going to fall off a cliff, so that's what they did.
BYU, Portland, we're kind of making that move on the second part, but it just seems like your group's impenetrable. There was no way that they were going to fall out of the top 30. Did you see it the same way?
Yeah, a couple of these guys, we made eye contact at different points in the race, and you work with them every day, so you read faces. And 2K to go, Pete Lamong just gave me this big grin. Blaze looked at me and looked like he started to laugh. And that's it. I think if you could be calm in this heightened atmosphere, you can access your fitness. And so many people, that's, man, I wish I could go back to my college running career and know that, because it's that's really what gets in the way of a lot of people doing this. It's just panic. So we train them to be calm under pressure, and I give it to BYU and Portland. Those guys were on the move, and I think at one point we had maybe a 70-point lead. It was down to 50, so they're moving up well. And I know people hype up this rivalry with BYU. They are. We owe them a lot because they hold us accountable every day, and it's a phenomenal program, phenomenal athletes, and they another example of pushing us to the very limits today. There's no way these guys would perform as they do without BYU.
One more, and then I'll let you celebrate with your team. Usually championship teams, you expect that euphoria, but when they came over initially, you saw a lot of tears. Why do you think it was so emotional, bringing tears to their eyes this year?
I love you, man.
I just got lifted up by a 90-pound man. So I'm gonna try to talk about this without tears. To coach, I mean, anyone who coaches, doesn't have to be NAU, anyone who coaches, the privileges that you're on the inside of their day in and day out. I just know what some of these guys are working with and what they're going through and what they've overcome. A guy like Blaze Farrow, he spent at least 50% of the last 3 years hurt, and so he started to have success this year. He comes in the office, he's like, it was scaring him. He's so afraid something's going to happen. And if you run like that, if you run with that fear of risk, it's going to be a barrier. And so the vulnerability that takes of, hey, at any moment something could change, and you're going to risk it, and the trust involved in that is just massive. And so when his tears, I think it's just acknowledging what he's overcome there. And Matt Baxter's, this is his last race for NAU, and I think he's been a phenomenal leader for this team, and I think he's got his dad over here from New Zealand, and I think probably that was overcome there with some emotion. And a lot of these guys, it's we really hold it together all year long. I mean, if you follow us around, there's not a whole lot of rah-rah. It's pretty quiet, and so I think this finally just lets it out.
Coach, congrats. First three-peat since 2000. You guys are in the history books.
Thank you.
Best of luck in
Thank you so
track,
much,
and then
man.
going for 4 next year.
Yeah, we'll see. That's right. Yeah, we'll be the best team we can be. Thank you.
Gordon, Ryan, guys, back to you.